Hi, everyone. I hope everybody's well. This is the second webinar in the Careering Ahead series by Legal Ops Career. I think we're probably meant to have a few more people, and I suspect more people will come during the course of this hour. But nevertheless, this will be recorded and will go out on YouTube afterwards anyway. So I guess welcome to all the people that watch this a little bit later on. So what is it that first of all, I suppose, can everybody hear me? I suppose if you give me a reaction in some form, yeah, all good. What I want to talk about in this webinar is about mentoring. I suppose a little bit of an idea of what it is, and then after that, how does it benefit you as a professional, or I suppose an aspiring legal ops professional. And then after that, there'll be a little bit of a brief panel discussion about kind of what it means to be a mentor, what it means to be a mentee, from people that have been mentors and mentees. So you kind of get a better feel for what it actually looks like in practice. So if I start us off then, I know everybody loves a slide presentation, but I'll keep it snappy. And if I just quickly, so one sec. Oh, wrong one. Classic technology issues. For some reason my Teams is being super slow, so I can't see the what's in the actual screens.
You want to give it a try,
And I
Mark?
actually have three screens, so I'm using my laptop, and then I've got two other ones, two bigger ones. So I'll maybe roll the dice.
Take your time. Take your time. There's no rush. And in the meantime, I appreciate now, guys, that the new generation doesn't put the camera on. But in case you want to engage directly, we're more than happy to see you face to face. Of course, hey, as you like. Oh, Dick is back. Oh, you have a question, Griselle? Okay, here we go, Mark. I think we're ready.
Okay, we're ready. Technology issues over. Okay, so as I said, what we want to talk about is mentoring, and what it is, and how can it help you. In this little slide presentation, I'll go through that, what it is, what it isn't, a little bit on the Legal Ops Career program itself. Yeah, and like I say, after that, we'll go into a little bit of discussion. So what is mentoring? So I think I picked this little definition up a little while back, perhaps even in the pre-ChatGPT era. But mentoring is ultimately a learning tool to support your own personal development. And I suppose it's best described by what the mentoring relationship is, which is about having a mentor that advises or guides or shapes or facilitates so that the mentee is able to make better decisions for themselves. And I'll come into what it isn't in a minute. But that relationship normally means that the mentor is somebody more senior, somebody, I suppose, more knowledgeable, maybe further ahead in experience or skills. And they're able to kind of pass on that knowledge to somebody that needs it in terms of a mentee. Okay, so what isn't mentoring? So I suppose the first one is it isn't coaching. It isn't a kind of one-way street where your mentor is there to kind of provide training or some type of learning to make the mentee kind of, I don't know, understand the situation better they're able to get more skills, for example. It isn't about coaching. Uh, as I said, it's about facilitation. It's about allowing the mentee to make decisions for themselves, um, but more with the cues and the discussion, and the questions that the mentor asks to kind of route the mentee down the right path or steer them towards the right goal. The other one is it isn't an opportunity for selling. We've done our best with the 14 mentors that we've had to kind of avoid any situation where they're selling. There's a possibility of one mentor or mentee selling to the other party, and it isn't a shortcut for recruitment processes. So it isn't about getting a foot through the door by picking a particular mentor, for example, and uh, kind of building up the rapport with them so that in the hope that you maybe circumvent the normal recruitment process of that particular company or firm. Um, I think there was one other one. The other one is that and this is one that I found out myself very early on, is that it's not really an opportunity for networking either. So I've done mentoring a few times. I've I think when I was at university, I did one that was focused on being a barrister, and at the time, I didn't really know which type of lawyer I wanted to be, but I jumped into this mentoring scheme, and I was paired up with a barrister. It kind of became clear quite quickly that being a barrister wasn't really for me, but in my immature self, the kind of next step was kind of asking whether they knew any solicitors to then kind of put me in the right direction, which ultimately isn't their role to do. And I suspect I was an underwhelming mentee at the time, but it was a learning experience, nevertheless. And in hindsight, I should have put in the effort to make my own connections there, and ultimately I did. So it worked. The next little bit is about the legal ops career mentoring program specifically. So some of you may have seen this one before. It's part of the guidance document. Before it was a bit. I think the first or second page. That this one I needed to provide a little bit of context before going into this. But what did it hope to achieve? It ultimately aims to advance the careers of current or aspiring legal ops professionals through one-to-one mentoring. How do we hope to achieve that? So these are the goals. I think I speak quite a bit about breaking into legal operations, but really there are three stages, I suppose, three areas that we look to focus on, and with mentoring, hope to support our mentees on. So the first one is breaking into legal ops. The second one is moving from junior roles to kind of middle management, and the third one is people looking to advance from middle management um, up the ladder ultimately to executive roles. I changed the numbers slightly with the deliverables. I think I was fairly optimistic of what we could do in the first, second, and third years, but I think we did pretty well in our first year. I think we connected 8 mentors with mentees. As far as I'm aware, at least 2 of them then got jobs through the support that they got, not specifically from their mentors, but as a result of the relationship that they had. And then what we're aiming for this year is 25 pairings and 50 next year to pick it up a bit. This is a quote. So one of my favorite things about doing this is getting an email one day out of the blue to say that they've kind of made it, right. They've been able to get a job, or what the reason for their mentoring, um, and the support that they got led them to where they needed to go. So this was a nice quote as part of a bigger email from one of the mentees within the program itself. I'm not going to go into this in too much detail, but this is all part of the guidance document. But it's all about the fundamentals of it, how long it should typically last, around 4 to 6 months. We will pair the mentees with the mentors, but clearly we'll take into account the things, the relevant factors, or your own specific needs and preferences. And then what if it doesn't work out? So it won't work every single time, but there are, as I say, currently 14 mentors, so there will be somebody else that you could potentially match up with if the first one doesn't work out. This is about expectations, so I think we'll come onto this a little bit when we talk about kind of what it means to be a mentor and mentee during the discussion a bit later. But these are kind of good practice elements. So the preparation for meetings, that openness to get the most out of the conversations that you have, and the empathy and willingness to help, especially for mentors. This provides a little bit of detail. I'm not expecting you to read it off the slide, but in summary, your first meeting is important. The first meeting that you have with your mentee or your mentor is likely to be the one that sets the scene, uh, not only in what you're looking for in the relationship, but also kind of how you communicate with each other. And then every subsequent meeting, kind of it should have an agenda that you're following, and kind of next steps that build on that. And the structure is important, so that you kind of know where you are, wherever you are in that 4 to 6 month period, and you can kind of see the progress as and when it happens. In terms of how do you get involved for mentors, it'd be good if you could come and speak to us, either me or Marco. We both work on this together, or message the Legal Ops career LinkedIn page. A bit of a mouthful. For mentees, there is a subscription to it, but it's pretty small, given what you'll get out of the program. But ultimately, it's there to pay for the costs of running the community and handling the administration of pairing people up. And for some people, if we don't have the right mentor, then we're going to need to go out there and find the right person. So it kind of accounts for that part of it. And any questions, you feel free to reach out to either me or Marco, who is on this call. So the next bit of this session is a brief panel discussion to stop sharing. Okay.
I can also tell you, Mark, just briefly. Tiffany messaged if we could share the slides after the webinar. I'm pretty sure it's possible. So do not worry,
Yeah.
Tiffany. Mark will be back, so you
Yeah.
can count on his slides.
It's fine. I can share the slides after this with anybody that wants it. But I will still sharing. For the next part of the session, like I say, is a panel discussion. So I'm pleased to have Marco and Jasmine here, who it's probably a good idea if you introduce yourselves very briefly. So maybe Marco first.
Sure. Thank you, Mark. Hey, Jasmine and everyone. I'm Marco Mendola and I'm based in Bristol, UK. I am together with Mark working on the Legal Ops Career Project, which is something that we really believe in, especially for not just helping the community, but making sure that both mentees and mentors together can find better ways and better opportunities together. I'm currently a legal technologist at TLT, based here in Bristol, and my focus is specifically on transformation projects, training sessions around legal tech adoption for lawyers, and also some research and events or organizations actually together with Mark. Uh, Jasmine, what about you?
Thank you, Marco. I'm Jasmine. Hello. I currently work at Mills and Reeve as a legal technology assistant. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that I was the first few mentees on the legal ops career. And I've actually gained a lot through this program because through the support and guidances, that's how I landed my current job. And in my current role, I just manage different legal tech platforms, talk to different clients, and also internal externally. And I would just want to say that this has been a great journey. And this mentoring program has helped me a lot, like in terms of like learning more about the field, learning more about the technologies itself, and it's also helped me to gain my confidence and like networking with different people and trying to learn more about the field in general.
Thanks, Jasmine. Yeah, you're right. You were, I think, one of the very first, definitely the first wave of mentees that we had. But it's good because it's good to have you on the call because you are one of
Yeah,
the success stories, right?
yeah, of course.
Um, um, but I suppose the next, uh, well, I suppose the first question is about the context of mentoring. How did you get to the point of wanting to become a mentee, or what 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 was your situation, I suppose, if you're willing to share?
Yeah, of course. I knew that I wanted to get into legal tech when I was doing a course at Manchester for my bachelor's. But by the time that I took that course, I've already decided that I was going to study my master's in the Netherlands the following year. So being in a whole different country and not knowing anything about legal tech didn't really help. So I went on LinkedIn and then I was just trying to search for different resources. And then I stumbled across the legal technologist page and also the legal ops career page as well. And I believe that it was the first few days of its launch. So I was like texting Mark about some ideas and suggestions. And he was like, why don't you become my mentee? I was like, yeah, of course. And then the rest is history. And yeah, I mean, the support and guidance made me wanted to keep on being a mentee and then just try to explore different stuff as well.
Yeah, yeah, I remember actually back, yeah, the
Yeah.
feedback that I got quite quickly after launching. Um, but no, it was helpful, and I guess it's led to this, and I like to think a good friendship also. Um, Marco, how did
Hey,
you? Obviously, you're more invested in legal ops career as a whole, but
yes.
you also put yourself forward as a mentor. So, what does it mean to you? Why do you do it?
Sure. Yeah, it's. I would say, Mark, my position is a funny one. I kind of candidated myself as being a mentor without I've never do it, I've never done it before, right? So I've always been in the mentee position. But then I think through my journey, I realized, you know what? I've done my part of a journey so far. Of course, I'm not. I never feel I'm there yet, and there's a lot for me to still grow and learn. But maybe that bit of journey I've done so far, I can be used. I mean, I can be of use and support of someone that is slightly behind in the journey than me. Can be a matter of age or just career change. It doesn't matter. Let's say where you come from or what's your background. It's more about what you want to do. this is how I wanted to approach this journey. So I jumped into the first mentor experience at the end of 2024. It's been fantastic. It's been rewarding. I think I've learned more myself than my mentee so far. Going back to, I think, to your initial presentation when you said mentoring is not about coaching. It's not about giving or offering shortcuts. It's not about opening the Pandora box and say, oh, this is the solution, just copy paste it and use it. Trust me, it's going to work. It's more about, really a lot more about listening and trying to ask some questions that might spark your mentee attention and drive to decide what's next. So I would say this is in a nutshell my mentor experience. But as a wrap up, as I say many times, I think it's kind of like it works both ways. I still feel a mentee with my mentee himself or with mentors inside the legal ops community, especially our legal ops career one, Mark, which we are very much invested into. So hope that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's one thing that I was thinking of. I've lost it. There's one thing that I wanted to say as a result of what you said.
Is it
I'll
about the
come back.
Is it about the double-edged mentor mentee, or is it about the?
Oh no, I remember what it was.
Okay.
So the thing that I didn't cover off in the slides is that this is quite different. The relationship between the mentor and the mentee is quite different to say a manager and a subordinate, I suppose. I suppose the benefit of having a mentor independent from your kind of chain of command or your line of management is that the mentor ultimately doesn't have a vested interest in keeping you where you are, and there is always some level of that, whether they want to do it consciously or not. So the other benefit of mentoring clearly is that it's independent of anything that you're around in your working day, and entirely independent and should be impartial. So those are the sort of things that are useful for the open discussion that I was talking about. I think that the next question that I wanted to ask, I suppose I go back to you, Jasmine, is what have you enjoyed most about mentoring?
I feel like during the whole journey, the most important thing is to have someone to guide you into the right direction. Because when I first joined, I was had no idea about legal tech. Like I had no idea what it actually entails, what concepts, what do I need to learn. So I remember asking Mike, like, what do I actually need? Like, what skills do I actually need to have? And Mike was like, project management, change management, and different other skills. And I was like, okay, so now I need to look into these different skills. But I would say that without these conversations, like I would not have ever known that I had actually had to look into these skills or to try to explore more in that direction. Because in my own understanding, I was like, okay, legal tech meant that technology, and I didn't know where to start. But this program actually helped me to know where to start and to actually challenge myself in learning different stuff as well, because I've never had any like project management or change management experience before. And it's actually pushing me towards my boundaries and to drive me out of my comfort zone. Which actually turned out quite well, because the more you drive yourself out of your comfort zone, you're talking to more people, learning more stuff, and eventually this circle is so closely knitted. Everyone knows everyone, and like everyone's sharing their knowledge and stuff. And eventually, I feel like at some point, everyone can become everyone's mentor. And I think this is a really good environment to nurture in and to grow as a newbie, like a legal tech newbie. Yeah.
I hope you don't mind me saying, but you were very diligent with connecting with people and getting the information that you needed. I think as soon as you had a bit more of that kind of laser focus,
Mm-hmm.
I think you were great at finding the right people or getting in front of the right people and all that.
Mm-hmm.
and I think that helps a lot. I mean, I suppose the mentoring is one element. It's almost like the strategic element of it. But I suppose mentees still need to do the hard work to get to their destination, I suppose. So this isn't, I suppose, the silver bullet. Um, I suppose if I move on to Marco and what you enjoyed.
Let's go. Oh, what I
So
enjoy?
yeah,
Oh, that's a tricky question, Mark. Um, well, I would say in 3 points. The first, obviously, I have a great chance to meet new people that are interested in the space out of my, let's say, close work environment. So it helps me to kind of go out of my cage of thoughts sometimes on how to approach things, on how to learn about a topic. So always different points of view. So this is what really drives me, like to meet new people and to understand their ways of thinking, their ways of working. Second, personally, and that's why I wanted to engage as a sort of mentor mentee hat, as a sort of a hybrid, is to keep checking myself in how I'm growing or how I want to grow as a professional. But at the same time, if I'm engaging potentially with someone with a bit less experience or just a bit younger than me for age, just trying to be just try to be present and listen a lot, kind of like, I wouldn't say a self therapy to my young self, but kind of like, trying to do my very best and give my contribution to what I think is fundamental. So helping others, especially if you have learned something across your journey, as I said before. And last but not least, well, I think again it's a good excuse to be mentored by many people. So it's kind of like, I think it's the final end. So rather than just having, apart from the importance of having the one-to-one conversation, as we said before, Mark, if you are a member of a community like ours, yes, of course, you will have your special relationship with your mentor or mentee. It can turn into a friendship, even better, lucky. But if you're part of a community, everyone is checking on each other about sharing knowledge, quick wins, no goes, green lights. So it's again growing together. It's a safe space. No one is selling anything, no one is buying anything. So it's literally just a knowledge and experience platform. So that's what I like.
and speaking of sharing, I think my next question is about what advice you would give to others that are looking to be mentored or mentor others. So I keep on going with you, Marco, and then I
Oh, I
go
keep on
back to
going.
you,
Okay.
Jasmine.
I
Yeah,
think
sorry, no break, no break.
no break. Uh, no, I think it will sound. I don't want to sound cliche, but just be yourself in the way you approach. So I think it goes back also in the key bullet points that you said at the beginning, Mark. So I think approaching for mentoring or being a mentor I don't think it requires you to be a different person than you are, or like putting yourself extremely out of the comfort zone in saying, oh, I'm a bit shy. I don't want to actually engage very loudly in this, or vice versa. I want to sound competent. I don't want to be extremely, loud and enthusiastic. So do not try to measure yourself like trying to fit in a box of how the perfect mentee or mentor should be or how you can engage with others. Just go with a leap of faith. Just be yourself in the way you approach. If you prefer like a writing approach, if you prefer a face-to-face approach, if you have the luxury to have like a one-to-one life approach, maybe, who knows, maybe both yourself and your mentor live in Manchester, I don't know, or in Bristol or in London. Just go what you're comfortable with, but be yourself. Don't force it too much, and things can, I think, evolve and develop in time. So maybe I'm just assuming and making a joke. I assume maybe you, Mark, and Jasmine started very, very shy and simple, and progressively you had more fun, and actually we have a great success story to share. So I hope you can find some meaning in what I shared.
For sure. I certainly wasn't the loud extrovert when I started. But your advice, Jasmine, what would you advise? Like, how would you advise anybody looking to be mentored or become a mentee?
I do
Or become a
agree.
mentor, sorry.
I do agree with Marco because when I first came, like when I first became a mentee, I was like always thinking, what do they actually want to look in a mentee? And I wasn't really being myself. I tried to be like that shy, polite newbie, trying to ask more questions and trying to not really impress people, but trying to show people the eagerness that I want to get into the field. But the more you know me, you know that I'm actually a yapper and I speak a lot. And sometimes I just try to hide that side of me because I don't want to frighten people. But so that's why. But progressively, I understand that it's actually quite important to be yourself because it's actually good for your mentor to know your true self and to support you the way that you are because you are you and everyone is unique. And I feel like that the mentor's advice can also shape you in building your career as well. And this is why I also just suggest mentees to also keep an open mind and also think and absorb your mentor's advice because everyone is unique. But you need to think how your mentor's advice can actually help you in adapting your own way by thinking about your strengths and weaknesses and how you can change that advice into something more actionable to become something that actually suits you. And apart from that, I think being proactive it's really important as well because mentors definitely can't be chasing you for updates. That's why I always spam Mark with different texts and emails because I want to communicate more, like tell you my updates. Like it's fine if you didn't have the time to read it, but I feel like I have the responsibility to keep you updated to show that okay, I'm actually still invested in the whole process and to show you that I'm eager. And I feel like in a way that it also shows that the mentor is actually investing the correct amount of time into that mentee as well because it's kind of a waste of time if the mentee is not also that invested in the whole process. So I feel like overall, just be proactive and think and absorb. And lastly, I feel like you need to be really appreciative to your mentors. That's why I always say thank you, thank you, and thank you. Um, Mentors are doing a lot. Like they're using their time to nurture you, to mentor you. They're doing it for you. And this is really invaluable, like not something that you can get that often. And that's why I'm really thankful for everything. Like I always say this, like it feels really cliche, but I do feel really appreciative to everything that has happened, like all the supports and guidance.
Thanks, Jasmine. I think to be fair, you put in 95% of the work there. I'll take it, but you did a lot. But I think it's nice to hear it. But I think as a person, as a mentor, it's nice to see people thrive and be successful, right? Um, I think even Marco can align with that as well. It's it's nice to be able to give back and use the experience that you've gained over time, and especially within legal ops where the career itself
Mhm.
isn't fully defined. And different companies are moving, and law firms and consultancies are moving at different paces, and they're kind of doing their own thing when it comes to progression and titles and skills. So I think it's definitely helpful, this program and the people within it, to be able to share their experiences. And I hope maybe one day, Jasmine, you'll be there to mentor somebody else that is kind of wanting to break in or move up?
Yeah, of course. Cause actually, like, after I got this role, I've been getting like different LinkedIn message like about getting advices as well. I'm not mentoring them in a way because I feel like I'm still quite new to the field, but it's also quite fascinating to see that, oh, I can actually help people the way that I receive help. And I just feel like it's like a life cycle, like, oh, you receive the help and then you're giving out and it feels so great.
Mhm.
No,
Definitely.
and now, Mark, sorry, I have to say something, but Jasmine hasn't realized it, but she has been a mentor in this webinar more than the two of us combined, because basically,
No, no,
without realizing,
no,
that's the funny part. That's the funny part, because it's more about the skills that you learn than the titles that you
yeah,
give yourself,
true.
right? So somehow you went through your own journey as a mentee, and
Yeah.
now somehow it's thanks to your words as an experienced direct
Mhm.
that we're able to to explain to the community how to be a mentee feels like. Otherwise we will be just it's all about. That's why I think the kind of
Yeah.
mentor mentee role is more like a revolving door.
Yeah,
It's
true.
like you spin it and everyone is doing both. I think
Mhm.
Mark has been my mentor for the last 4 years. He doesn't know. I don't tell him, and he knows I'm very, very proactive with many, many messages. But yeah, don't tell it to Mark. Okay.
Yeah, we're not
Uh,
gonna tell him, yeah.
Um, I guess there are only a few more questions. One specifically to you, Marco, which is around what is the limits of being a mentor.
yes.
I think I went through a few things a bit earlier about what mentoring
Mm,
wasn't, but I guess in
true.
what do you think the limit should be?
Yes. Very good question, Mark. Often misunderstood about what mentoring is. So just to recap briefly on what you shared before, for sure, it's not about coaching. So I suggest you check out if you're interested in to know more what is coaching. Um, it's definitely not networking because again, it's not about chit chatting about general topics, which of course can be done if you both agree. But as a general approach, it's not. It's not selling or buying. I'm sure you don't need a definition for this. So as you can see, my responses be with three negatives, and the intention is it's intentional. So everyone between mentor and mentee, there's a special relationship there. So these two people decide what the rules are for them. So I would say it's a personal boundary relationship that the two people decide to. But for sure, mentoring is not these three things that I mentioned before. So again, it's not buying or selling, it's not coaching. Um, it's not like recommending like you must do this. It's more like a meeting of minds in a safe place where you share each other experiences, and maybe the person with a bit more experience try to see where's the potential better path, considering what this person is learning about the other. And that's probably the extra bit of effort that the mentor needs to be. And the mentee, the extra bit of effort is trying to be as clear as possible, as honest as possible. And also, as a final recommendation, don't put a timeline or a deadline on things. It's an organic process. It might take a few weeks, it may take months, it might pause. Maybe for a couple of months, the mentor mentee relationship stops because of life situations. That doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that, let's say, the mentorship ended up bad, or it happens. It goes with flows. So it's a very fluid thing, Mark, I think.
Mhm. Definitely. I have one more question for both of you, and then I'll open it up to everybody else for their questions. Um, but I think I mentioned earlier about mentoring itself not being a silver bullet. He isn't gonna get you to, just by the nature of just being in a conversation and kind of facilitating a particular strategic direction. It isn't a silver bullet towards actually getting there. You still need to do things that go around it in order to actually get there, and actions kind of go around that. So I suppose in summary, what do you think people should do to maximize the impact of mentoring? And I'll start with you, Jasmine, and then finish with you, Marco.
Yeah, no problem. I have been reading a lot since I've got into legal tech because I feel like that there's so many things that are happening in the world, like in terms of legal tech, and you always have to keep up to the newest updates and stuff. It's not only about reading books or articles, it's also about going onto LinkedIn, going on to like different conferences and try to absorb the most that you can and try to learn the new trends because that actually allows you to know what's happening in the field and maximizes the impact of your mentor's advice. And I would say, in terms of the advice, also use the time to digest and think, like be a sponge, try to soak and absorb all the knowledges or the advice that your mentor's been giving you, or else you're just going to end up as a wood, like you're just going to dry out eventually. And I don't think that's going to be a good way in like the whole mentoring program because it's all about how you try to adapt that knowledge or experience into some way that's going to amplify your strength and to make it into some way that you could build your own legal tech career. So I think it's important to stop and think and to plan ahead and see what you can do about your mentor's advices and with that being said, I think don't solely rely on your mentor's advice as well, because you need to keep exploring. Because sometimes people just think, okay, my mentor told me this, so I'm just going to do this. But sometimes try to explore the world, try to see what's out there, because um, there's a lot more to see. And your mentor definitely can't tell you everything that's happening in his life in an hour or so. So it's really important to see how you can act beyond their advices and to just talk to different people. Like try to learn more as you can because the more you go, I feel like the more people you talk to, you're just gonna see how you can build your own legal tech professional by being yourself.
Definitely. I definitely agree with talking to others as well. I
Yeah.
guess people of a same level or others of a higher level also within the space. Just
Yeah.
I guess in some respects, you're uh, kind of confirming, I suppose, what is happening within the discussions that you're having on that kind of strategic level.
Yeah.
Um, and Marco, how do you think people should best maximize it?
A quick one. Don't do like I used to 2 years ago, like keeping very, very long bullet points agendas. Join a community. It's way easier. It's better. It's more fun. You learn tons more in less time. So back in the days, I thought that first I need to do a lot of homework and then I reach out specifically to some ideal points I had in my head of I need to talk with this person, I need to do research about this, and so on and so forth. I was wrong. What worked, at least for me, and it's working so far, and let's see for the future, join a community, share, absorb, as you said, Jasmine, and you're gonna grow way faster and learn way better, I think. And it's also more fun, which is
Yeah.
definitely useful on these days.
Which is a great segue to the end, which is if anybody has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. But while you're adding those to the chat, if you have any, clearly, if you want to be involved with the mentoring, either as a mentor or a mentee, for the mentors, feel free to reach out to me or Marco. For the mentees, feel free to subscribe on the site, the Legal Ops career site, and then we'll match you up with a relevant person based on your level, with the three levels that I spoke about earlier, and also your personal preferences. The other thing, as Marco alluded to there, is about community. So I know that looking at the names, I think a number of people here are in the circle community that we set up quite early on last year. It always takes a bit of time to get some proper engagement. So I suppose what I would recommend, if you have questions, I would add them in there, and the 150 odd people that are in there so far can also answer some of their questions as well, especially if they're around, I don't know, technical elements or maybe geography specific questions, or anything that you want to kind of put out there in the community and for you to get something back from. I don't think we have any questions, which is fine, because I think, Marco, you have to go a little bit early anyway, so it's ideal. But what I'd say is big thanks to Marco and Jasmine for coming along and being great panel members. And big thanks to everybody else that has joined today, and to those that watch this afterwards when I put it up on YouTube. Um, have a wonderful day, and hopefully I will get to speak to some of you again soon.
Bye.
See
Take
you,
care.
everyone.
Bye. Thank you.